are there other books you'd recommend about account management? And my honest answer was really no, because like I haven't found any that I like, and that's why we wrote the book. But that's so self-serving, but whatever. I'm going to say it anyway. I'm hawking books here, people.
It's our podcast, John. We can do whatever we want.
Learn more about the art and science of account management. Pick up a copy of A Dragon Walks Into a Meeting, a tactical guide to client management. Digital and print editions available at Amazon or your favorite bookseller.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Account Management, a tactical guide to success. You got Fred Fuller here, and on the other side of the table, my compadre, my good friend, the wonderful Mr. Dr. John Brown. John, how the heck are you, man?
Man, I couldn't be better, Fred. How are you?
I'm good. Listen, it's been quite a while since we've done this, so I'm going to need a little bit more than I couldn't be better.
Everything I touch turns to gold. Every meal is a feast. Every paycheck a fortune. Every meeting is a gathering of old friends.
I was hoping we could do better.
That's all I got. No,
that's all you got.
No, things are good. Hey, how are you? That's the important part.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly optimistic. I'm doing very well. Life is good. No complaints. We had the holidays, right? We got through the holidays. Mm-hmm. We had that super cold snap thing that came through. I didn't have any pipes burst.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of people affected by that.
Dog's still healthy.
Oh, and what's the dog's name?
Violet.
Violet. Wow. I like that name.
She's a great dog, man.
Oh,
she's
okay.
Wonderful. And I've had my bad ones. I've had they always say it's the owner. They say it's never the dog. It's always the owner.
Yeah. Well, you're a good person. So that's why you have a good dog. Right. That's one theory.
Well, I was saying that more to line myself up with the previous dogs that were horrible. This is my wife's dog, for the record.
Oh, I see. Yeah, your prior dogs were what were they? Cranky, they write bad emails. Like what did they do that was a problem?
ADHD.
ADHD. They weren't good at spelling. Like
Squirrel, man.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah, and they didn't behave. They didn't come. They didn't sit.
They were bad dogs.
They were.
Okay. Well, that clearly is your fault.
I want to thank you. Thank you for bringing. I'm glad. Like, you know what? Let's spend the whole episode
talking about mismanagement of dogs.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I've got great pet stories, right? Like, don't get me started on that.
Let's save that for the end of the podcast. Actually, you probably get a lot of hate mail if you tell all your pet stories. So let's not go there. Let's actually do a podcast. First of all, let's explain why have we taken so long to put out another podcast. I have my reason, which is you're lazy. That's my number one reason.
Okay.
But my second reason would be this is free. We're doing it out of love. We get busy. That's our lame excuse. What do you think the reason is?
That, and I had a hangnail. We got to give them something. Yeah. So I had a hangnail that took me out of commission for like 4 months.
Yeah. No, I think everybody look. It's a medical issue. Were you hospitalized at any point?
I thought about it.
Did you call your doctor?
I thought about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, folks, you heard it here first. Fred's got a medical condition. Can someone start a GoFundMe for Fred to?
Are we going to hold on a second?
Very serious.
Are we going to post a link to this on LinkedIn? Because if we're going to do that, I think we got to edit
LinkedIn. Something. We're raising money for Fred. He's got a hangnail. Somebody's going to write a "We Are the World" style song for.
Oh my gosh,
your hangnail.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I like where this one's going.
Yeah. All right.
So
now we have another action item. We'll get that going.
Well, I'll post all my account numbers on the website so you could just give me money there.
You should wire it in directly, people.
Well, right.
Don't forget the passwords and pins. That way,
in the social.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. All right, man. On task here. That's what
Let's get on task. This podcast is about account management. Actually, I did one more digression before we get started, which is we get a lot of email. We will make a request for the mailbag, and we're going to answer some letters here today. But we get a lot of email from advertisers who send us stuff like, "Hey, can I come on your podcast and talk about health and wellness and eating well?" No, It's a podcast about what?
Well, it's a podcast. I'm gonna take the leap of faith here. I'm gonna take the other side of this one, John.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a podcast about account management.
Right.
Account management is about taking care of people, and you can't take care of people if you don't take care of yourself. Boom.
Wow. All right. That's quite the segue. I've got an even better segue into our topic for today.
Okay.
Which is our topic for what account management really is about being a great individual and always improving. And maybe food is a part of that, but please stop emailing us about that. But today we're going to do a wrap up of our book about account management. This is kind of from the final chapter. We've sort of, if you want to save yourself $10, you could have listened to everything we did before and saved yourself $10. That's not cool. Just spend $10, go buy the book, please. But if you want to, you could have done that.
You would miss all the witty banter.
The book doesn't have witty banter. Yeah.
No, we should give the book away and charge people for the podcast. That's what.
That's there. Now you're thinking.
Actually, that's not a bad idea at all.
That's not a bad idea at all.
I need somebody to put together a spreadsheet.
Yeah. I need a business plan stat. Anyway, so today we're going to do a wrap up of everything from the book, and then we've got some other topics picked out that we're going to do for the rest of this year. And so the wrap up of the book has 4 things that we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Let's start with number 1, John, which is be more than a pass through. Right.
That's right. We're going to cover that.
Yep. Number 2, be a student of the game.
That's right.
Number 3, be a person of character. Pay close attention, John Brown. And number 4, mention resources available for further study.
But you're hanging number 3 on me. Wow, that hurts.
Well, I mean, it was easy, like it's a softball. And you got to blame somebody, right? So,
yeah, somebody's the problem. Here's number 1 on this list for me. I'll talk about what I think it means. Be more than a pass through. This is pretty short. If you're listening to this podcast or you're reading our book, it's probably 99% likely you're not a pass through. So this isn't really a thing. But what I mean by that and what you see sometimes are account managers who are kind of feel like their only job is to take things that the client says, repeat them back inside the company and vice versa. And that's kind of all they do. It's like that scene from Office Space where the guy gets the consultants are asking the guy what he does around here, and he gets all angry because he's like, I'm the one who talks to the customers. And all he does is say what the engineers say back to the customers and just is a pass through. It's that's what we mean by that.
Well, we've spent a good bit of time talking about it just in different flavors and contexts. I don't know. We may have said it with these very words, but it is challenging every thought that comes your way, both internal and external, because we talk about you're the quarterback, right? You drive the account, and sometimes you have to give that feedback to the people above you internally.
Yeah. Sometimes a lot of the job is being a pass through, but what we're saying is don't be just a pass through, right? Like that can be. You're making a great point, which is like all of that chatter internally and all the chatter from your clients can be overwhelming, and there's a temptation to devolve into just doing that. And what we're saying here is like be more than that. Have some intellectual curiosity. Make yourself better. Do all the things that we talk about in the book, and we went through all that in all the podcasts. Be more than that.
Be the CEO of that account.
That's great. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We could talk about it forever and ever, but you're right. Like we kind of get it. If you have any questions.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, you probably get that. I've seen a few account managers who are kind of like that. It's not the norm, and so we don't want to overemphasize it, but don't be that. Don't be that person.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. So that takes us to number 2. Number 2, be a student of the game.
Yes, be a student of the game. So, like, again, if you're listening to this podcast or you read our book, I mean, you are a student of the game, and there's an insight here, which is the problem with this particular game is we've mentioned it many times before. There's tons of materials out there about how to be a great salesperson. Like type sales in Amazon books and you'll get, bajillion results. There's almost zero on account management, and hence the reason for us writing the book. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need some self-study, right? You're going to need to grow yourself. And the way that you do that is make your own development plan every year, right? Like, here's what I'm going to do to learn and grow every year. This is something that I emphasize a lot in kind of my management rubric, but that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting about sales and account management, to your point, for all the material out there, once in a while something comes along and people say, well, that's got some real merit to it. But ultimately, these things require a lot of intuition and a lot of sort of soft skill things that extend beyond the average sort of book, right? So we wrote a book on account management because there's not a lot out there. Mm-hmm. If you're going to be a good account manager, think about things. You're probably presenting a lot. If you're not a great presenter, or if you want to be a better presenter, go look at Toastmasters, right? When we talk about being a student of the game, there's a lot of things that don't have account management in the title that can benefit you in this job.
Yeah,
and so
right,
search
exactly.
for those tools, right?
Right. Yeah. If you, a lot of times we get questions like, hey, I'm not good at this, or I'm deficient here. Well, go learn about that, right? Like, you don't have to be a super expert. Pick up a book and read it, right? Watch a YouTube video. You can be better than you were yesterday. I have a few concrete suggestions about how to do this. I do a development plan at the beginning of the year. My development plan last year was actually, or year before last, was actually around this podcast, and we met all of our goals there, which is great. And so everybody needs one, including me, including you. And my suggestions are, one, make it actionable better than formal. Like, don't write it for your boss, write it for you, right? Something you can write down in a couple of sentences on a piece of paper and tape it to the upper right-hand of your, computer screen. Fewer goals are better than more. So a lot of times I'll get development plans that are like, I'm going to read 5 books this year. Are you really going to do that? Actually,
did you read my plan, John? Is that what happened?
Is yours like that?
No,
like,
listen.
I'm gonna solve world hunger. Right.
I never let the opportunity for a joke pass me by. But I completely agree with this. This is so important. People do think, well, I'm going to fill the page and then I'll have and that'll keep me busy. And at the end of the year, I'll have a bunch of check marks and it's going to be awesome. Don't do that. What are the 2 or 3 big things that you want to happen this year? What are those objectives?
Yeah. And 2's better than 3, because this is the stuff, the sand that's going to fill in about the big rocks is a realistic matter. Like, you got a job to do.
That's right.
Right. So you pick 5 things you're going to do for self-development. I guarantee you'll do not 5.
No, you won't do 5. I mean, when you really start breaking that down, you're talking about 1 every other month. Some of these goals and some of these goals will require 3 or 4 months to accomplish if you started today.
Yeah.
And so it can kind of beat you up and move you backwards because you align to something that you're not going to go achieve.
Yeah.
That's not where you want to be. But I do believe in the notion of write it down.
Mm-hmm.
I do subscribe to that. Put it in writing, put it, whether it's a Word document, bullet point, email to yourself, a Post-it note, whatever it is, write it down. Think enough of it to put it in writing somewhere, because it matters. It changes the psychology of what that goal is.
And the other piece of changing the psychology is tell somebody about it.
Absolutely.
Right. Which is like the opposite of what all of us want to do. Because we don't want to be held accountable for it. But that's actually what you're doing. It's like, there's tons of research about this. If you say to yourself, you're going to lose 10 pounds, you're way less likely to do it than if you tell somebody else, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. Because then it's, it's from the book Influence. It's you're making a commitment, and people really, really, really generally want to meet their commitments.
Yeah, it matters. It matters. I mean, I honestly started doing this a very long time ago when I was in the military, actually, because, you and I, we talked about this. If you go back and listen to our podcast, we did some different things and some challenging things in the military. Yours was going through the nuclear training program and being a submariner. That, like, those aren't easy things to do. I went to SEAL training. Right. And when you do something like that, you have to have that goal. It's got to be, there have to be things that get you there along the way, which is, all those things of it checked every one of these boxes. Is it actionable? A few big ones, not a whole bunch of little ones, and make it measurable. Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. And so that's the mistake. People, when the first time I do this, I it's almost a guarantee as a boss, when I do this with people, the first time they do it, they give me a laundry list that they think is to please me. They give me 10 things they're going to do to improve themselves this year. And I'm like, you know what? I am not looking for quantity. I'm looking for, tell me 2 things or even 1, and you're really going to do it. That's what I'm looking for. Right.
That's right.
And but like the 5, the third tip I have here is you've heard of SMART goals, right? I like to say SMART goals are a way to get dumb really fast, because you'll spend so much time trying to satisfy every one of those letters that you're like in a tailspin trying to figure it out. That what I tell people is, look, probably the one that matters is measurable. Do that. Focus on that. And by that, and when you do self-development, it actually is much harder. So this is actually from the book. So here's an example. So like a typical self-development goal that people would write on their own would sound kind of like, this year, I will be better at presenting value propositions. That'd be something that maybe an account manager would say. That's a very loose goal. Instead, much better would be, I'll complete a 20-hour online seminar on developing and presenting value propositions by May. I will use what I've learned in 3 client presentations before the end of the year.
Yeah, perfect.
10,000 times better as a goal than what you're sort of, I will become a better public speaker.
The moment,
spell out what you're going to exactly do. Right.
Yeah. The moment you set that up, I went exactly where you went with it, which was, I was more quickly into well, then you got to do it. So you need to make sure that you lead 5 of these presentations with your clients.
Right.
Like, that's the measurement. The measurement is, I'm going to put this in practice, and here's how.
I'm going to present 5 times to internal audiences this year. I'm going to negotiate 3 deals on my own without my boss helping me. I'm going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's right. It's exactly right. And if you strive for those, but don't get there, right, there could be external forces, but sure. Make it a thing that you can look at and say, how am I tracking to this objective?
Right. Yeah. So the goal, particularly for self-improvement, is the temptation to write the goals. I'll just be better at this. Well, okay, that's nice, but a better goal set would be specifically what you're going to do with it. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Cool, man.
Student of the game.
Do not underestimate the power of this planning. I'll leave it there. We could this too we could talk about for hours, but it really does matter. It orients you in a different fashion. So what's the next one, John?
Be a person of character. Fred, not be a character. When I look at you, that's what I see.
It's a common refrain, really.
It says be a person of character. The of really makes a big difference in that sentence.
It does. It certainly does. But what does that mean? Like, not to turn this into, a 4-hour conversation about Nietzsche, but what does it mean? What does it mean to have character?
We were going to get into some Greek philosophers. It was the plan. the outline of the podcast, but maybe we'll skip that. No, I think it's really simple, right? Like if you break down the 6 principles we write in our book, like the 6 things you got to worry about as an account manager, they all actually connect to some sort of character value, right? Like, we need each other. Our relationship is not a zero-sum game. It's about loyalty. It's about patience.
Trust.
It's about trust. It's about wisdom, right? These are all character traits. And so that's where all these things come from. We just translate it into kind of account manager speak. But, being a person of character helps you build trust. Yeah, that's it. Well, what do you think it means?
I don't know that I can define it, but I can tell you what success looks like. As a salesperson, as an account manager, as a relationship person, your proficiency, the quality of the job you do will be reflective of the number of people that you interact with that move on from the current situation and bring you along with them. Right? If you are a person of character, I am with the Acme, whatever product company, and my client is Big Bank ABC. And when your client at Big Bank goes to Big Bank number 2, is that a client you can pick up the phone and call and go, how's it going over at the new bank? How are things? And that client will take your call, willingly pick up the phone and go, hey, Fred, how are you, man? It's good to hear from you. Yeah, we have a lot going on over here, and you guys' solution would fit right in. That is being a person of character, right?
Right. That's right. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of mom and apple pie in the sense of, for our American listeners, apple pie is how we say sort of boring American things. Felt like I had to explain that. Like, does anybody say that anymore? My son the other day accused me of using very old-fashioned phrases. I was talking about his mom, and I said, she's really crackerjack at this. And then he's like, are you from the 40s?
Were you guys sitting on the Davenport when you were having this conversation?
It's like, I don't need you to accuse me of being an old man. I already know. So like, it's not helping.
Yeah. You tell him to go get the hose pipe, carry it around back.
Yeah. I said, oh, I'm tired of listening to you. Crank up the Victrola.
Right. That's it. That's it.
Right. The sousaphone. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. So we could go, I think, on and on about this forever, but like your essential character, like being honest in every interaction, and being forthright, all these things, it'll pay off in the long run on your career. But like, if you do that well, it's kind of like everything else we suggest here in the account management world is kind of just icing on the cake, right? If you do just this part right, you're probably going to be okay.
Yeah, be present. Yeah, that is what it is. And you're right. We could wax on about this forever, but well, let's jump into then the final item here. And so, we're wrapping it up, like the book. We're wrapping up the book portion. Now we get into freestyle.
Freestyle. Now it's time for you to freestyle. So we're going to mention some resources for further study. So I was asked this question, hey, do you have any other resources that you'd mentioned so I did it recently. I met with a company that just kind of wanted to hear more about the book, and we just talked about it a little bit. And one of the questions was, are there other books you'd recommend about account management? And my honest answer was really no, because I haven't found any that I like, and that's why we wrote the book. But that's so self-serving, but whatever. I'm going to say it anyway. I'm hawking books here, people.
It's our podcast, John. We can do whatever we want. we pay the bills.
Right. That's a great point. Yeah, I can hawk whatever I want. Yeah. So that is self-serving. But what this book really is a synthesis of a lot of other learnings in the business world and trying to bring it together for account managers. So let me just mention a few specific ones. But what I would say is buy our book, go to the back. There's a list of resources you can use. But let me touch on 2 that come up a lot for account managers. One is communications. We've talked a lot about communications, how to structure them, when to communicate, on and on and on. There's a lot of the kind of background for how to communicate in terms of design comes from something called the pyramid principle. We talked about that. There's a book of that name that is a bit of a dense read. I might skip that. But there's two books that I always recommend to everybody in the business community that needs to present. And one is called Say It with Presentations. And the other one is called Say It with Charts. Both are by Gene Zelazny, who's an ex-McKinsey person. And these books are just like literally fundamental to everything business related. So that's kind of the first thing that I just want to mention. And then the second is there are several books on negotiations that are out there. Probably the most fundamental one for account managers because it deals with what are called distributive negotiations, meaning negotiations where you have to live with each other afterwards, is a book called Getting to Yes by Fisher and Ury. And it's pretty famous. Again, another really famous. But so I kind of, for account managers, it's kind of like, you kind of got to read those. Those are books you should have on your bookshelf no matter what. And then we list a bunch of others as well.
Yeah, and I'll pitch in with one that I recommend, and I love it, and it's one of my go-tos. It's kind of a reference book at times for me, which is How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
It just got it's the basic fundamentals of how to engage with somebody. Bottom line, like how to engage with somebody, right? Yeah,
that's definitely on our list of under kind of building relationships and that trust stuff, like for sure. And then I also mentioned client management philosophies, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's another one I mentioned. It's a little bit in that category, but How to Win Friends and Influence People is like literally a timeless. I mean, it can come across, I think, a little cheesy today, but what people don't realize is everything in that book is true today as it was back then, is still true and will always be true.
Yeah. Yeah. Without
people love the sound of their name.
Yeah.
They love it when you know things about them. Like, and now I actually think it's even more true now in the age of computing than it was back when he wrote it.
I could not agree more.
Yeah.
It is so fundamental. I was just thinking, it's kind of interesting as we wrap up the book portion, which again, we're not going anywhere. We're going to get back into a cadence. We're going to get these things out on a regular basis. We're still going to talk about the topics that, what based on the emails we receive, based on what we see out in the marketplace. But when you think about what's out in the marketplace right now, and you look at an economic trend that doesn't look positive, right? The macroeconomic conditions, you look at the layoffs that are taking place, et cetera. There's never been a better time than the present to hang on to your customers, right? The cost of acquisition is a sunk cost, and that's gone. And so keep them. And this is the profession that makes that possible, right? These are the disciplines that will make it create the opportunity for an organization to retain and grow their clients.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, what's the stat about what it takes to acquire a customer generally versus than retain one? I mean, 6 to 8 times more expensive. And
yeah, exactly. So like it's a wonderful. I think it's a wonderful discipline, and it's it couldn't be more important. So
yeah, I just think it's even more important now in the age of computing. Being able to build human relationships is actually a little bit of a rarer skill set, in my opinion. So that's why account management is so important. I had a boss say to me one time, like, the account management team here is our secret weapon. Now, I love that. Well, I wish it wasn't a secret, but I loved it all the same.
Yeah. It's not a secret now. Because we think
you and I are talking about it.
Secret worth telling, right? Is that, I don't know. Was that like on a wrapper or something?
Fred, so that's it. That was the whole book. We did the whole book, and it only took us, 2 years? I don't know. Something. Professional podcasters put out podcasts regularly because they're professionals.
Yeah. Well, look, as soon as somebody starts stroking me a check for this, I'll start acting like an adult about it. Right. So again, the GoFundMe page, right? I'm struggling. As we talked about at the top, I've got personal ailments that we can't.
The hangnail. Yeah.
The hangnail.
I think we all can identify with.
All right. Let's move on from that. Let's move on.
It's time for the mailbag. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I just opened the mailbag.
And did you really, John, or was that a sound effect?
No, I got a big bag right here next to me, and it's full of handwritten letters. Most are in calligraphy.
Handwritten letters.
Surprisingly, you would think some people sent me some Scrimshaw samples. Talk about some ancient references.
Scrimshaw.
Yeah, you know what that is?
You don't
know what it is.
It's like a bike taxi.
You don't.
What's that called? That's a rickshaw. Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
Okay.
You need to go to school and get some learning. Scrimshaw is ancient whalers that they would take whale bones and carve little pictures into them. And that's called Scrimshaw.
Poor
so if you want to mention like an obscure hobby, well, I would love to hang with you, but I got to go to my photo shoot on the front page of Scrimshaw Monthly. Like an obscure reference. That's a good obscure reference.
I'm gonna use that henceforth and forevermore.
All right, let's not get into the big words.
Yeah.
Here's letter number 1. Are you ready, Fred?
I'm ready.
Guys, really enjoy it's from Gabriel. I really enjoyed the podcast and purchased the book. I wanted to get your thoughts on where the line is between sales and account management. I work in industrial sales, selling capital equipment. I'm a territory sales executive. However, it's a mix between hunting and farming. I'd love to hear your thoughts and see where the responsibilities lean between sales and account managing. I'll start with kind of my theory on this is it's kind of for me, sales and account management is more about what sales is not, in the sense of, I think in general, if you're servicing the accounts, in other words, like post sales and they have a problem and they need your help, that kind of thing. If you're doing that, by definition, you are the account manager. I mean, there are plenty of companies out there that have it as a combined role. There's no question about that. I think that's most U.S. companies tend to separate the roles a little bit, for sure. At least large U.S. companies, and for sure most technology companies tend to separate the roles because it's hard to do both well. So I kind of define sales as what account management, or I kind of define it by what it isn't. So in other words, if you're servicing the account, you are the account manager. And the reason that you separate the roles is so that you can take that off of the sales team's plate, because you want them doing what? You want them selling, right? So for this person who seems to be kind of, so what my point is, if you're farming also at clients and you're a salesperson, but you don't do the servicing portion of it, that actually is not terribly unusual. Sometimes the sales team owns the sort of business development, even at existing clients. It's a continuum.
Well, I'd add to the reason they're two different functions is they are really two very different skill sets.
Yeah.
I really hate the hunting farming analogy.
Yeah, I don't like that either. We've talked about this before, right?
But it is, again, I say this all the time because it is accurate, and it is a true reflection of the different skill sets that you need, and they are very, very different. I'm really honestly amazed at the skill set of closing a new logo and the ability to go and drive that and work through the contracting and get through all the hurdles and the challenges and asking for the sale or for the close with that new logo is a very different skill set than sort of the watering and feeding and so forth.
Yeah.
So I agree that they're most effective as two different roles.
They are, but you do see where some sales teams are in charge of growing existing clients. That is not that unusual. It's the servicing element that's a little bit different. Like where I really draw that line is like, look, if you're a salesperson, you're having to service the clients also. That's a radically different skill set. And the number of people who are good at both is fairly small, in my opinion.
It is fairly small. Now, I do think, though, that with this, one of the things that plays a large role in the behavior. So regardless of how it looks on paper, regardless of how your organization defines it and draws it up, the biggest influencer on people's behavior is going to be the way that the commission or the comp plans are structured.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
Right. if you are incentivized that you still get a piece of the pie after landing the account and things continue to grow, you're going to behave very differently than if give me the account, you don't get, anything kind of going forward, and we extract you. Like it all drives the behavior. And so regardless of what's written down on paper, regardless of what the organization's philosophy is on it, you have to respect the impact that has. And if that's not aligned, then you will always have some kind of challenges, I think, in that space potentially, because those incentive plans can't be in conflict with one another, right? They are going to drive the behavior.
Yeah, and what you'd like to see is if you do have a separate account management team, that theirs is more heavily weighted towards client retention and client satisfaction. I mean, generally for most of the plans I've had, more than 50% of the plan is client retention and client satisfaction. And so that's what you want to see for a good account management team. And again, that goes back to that servicing element. If it's servicing, it's an account management function, or it should be an account management function. And kind of keeping the client happy. The growing the client part of it can live in either world. Although I'm with you, I'd probably argue that in general, it's better if the account manager owns it, because they're the one that has the relationship with the client. Like, here you got a person who, and here's my argument for that, right? Like, so you got a person who services the client every single day. A new business opportunity comes up, and then the salesperson swoops in. It's a weird relationship dynamic generally, right? Like so that's why I say that.
Yeah. And I would ask was you say Gabriel, right?
Gabriel. Mm-hmm.
I would ask Gabriel, talk to me about how this is manifesting itself. Like what's driving the question? Somebody's in somebody else's kitchen, right? Mm-hmm. That typically is the thing. Like, well, you're not giving me the space that I need to do my thing, or vice versa, whatever. Because within those details lies a very direct answer to your question, or a very direct conversation around sort of the problem and the solution. It being theoretical, like, here are our philosophies on it, but without getting into more detail. And you hear us talk about that throughout the course of the podcast, right? Yeah. What's the symptom? What's the thing? What do you think you're trying to solve for? And what are you trying to solve for?
I've been in businesses where the sales team, like you might start a smaller company or a smaller enterprise, and you only have a sales team to kind of begin. And then after a while, they sort of raise their hand and go, hey, can we get some people who actually manage these clients and their servicing? Because like, I got things I want to close. That's always a good conversation to have. Raise your hand and ask for that. For the record, Gabriel's email was back in August, and we haven't answered our mailbag in forever. And again, that's because you're so lazy. The dog in the background who let a dog in our studio? Gosh, somebody let a dog in our really expensive studio. We're paying. What are we paying? Like $10,000 a week for this studio
per square foot? Yes.
Yeah. And there's a dog running around. That's so weird. I don't know why a professional studio would have a dog. It doesn't make sense.
Anyway, two chimps in a basement. That is us, man.
All right. Let's
all right. We have another one. We have another
one more mailbag we're going to do. And I want to remind the audience, we got a question that we're going to do a deep dive podcast on later. Last time we talked about how to interview for an account management job, which is a great question. And so I think that's going to be our next topic. But this question is, hey guys, love the book. And this is from JJ, not me.
Okay.
Hi guys, love the book and podcast. Just wondering if you have any thoughts about taking over client database after the previous account manager made a mess of everything. I'm in this unique situation trying to manage a huge number of clients. I feel like I've got double the amount of deposit just to get back to the starting line. Any advice? That's a real world scenario that you have to deal with. My probably starting advice is don't say this like this to your boss. Right. And the reason I say that is this, like, I assume when you say database about clients, I'm kind of making the assumption that it's the CRM associated with the clients, like all the information about the clients. So if that's not correct, JJ, please email us back and let me know if I'm not correct on that. But that's my assumption. The problem with this is like the database, the CRM is a mess, is a very unactionable thing for you and your boss. So what you want to do is actually kind of project manage this and break it up into chunks. So what you want to say is, and I'm going to just make this up because I don't know the situation, but we've got 500 clients in our CRM database. All of them, they don't have the information necessary to actually officially manage them. So I'm going to clean that up. It's going to take time. It's going to take a year and a half. And so here's the stages. So I'm going to clean up, 50 of them per quarter. And I have a project plan, and I'm going to give my boss regular updates on me cleaning up the database. So I'm going to be calling each one of these clients, making sure I have their correct information, inputting that information, whatever plan makes sense for you, given what other work you really have to do. But the number one thing would be, don't go to your boss and say this, but rather structure the engagement and say, okay, this is something that needs to be done, and I'm going to do it, but we're going to have a plan.
I would put together the plan before you go to your boss.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Thank you. Right. Exactly.
Just to be really clear about that. Yeah. Now, what, John? It's almost like we design these things. It's almost like we script them. It's almost like we're intelligent and we plan ahead.
None of that is true.
Well, I know, that's why I'm saying it. But it's the goal planning we just talked about. Right? Make it measurable. Make it actionable. You're going to do 10 of these a month. You're going to break it down into smaller pieces, right? I'm going to do 7,000 of these over the next 12 months. Man, that's overwhelming. Break it down. I think the other thing the thing that immediately that came to mind for me with this email is, what does that mean? Right? Made a big mess of things. Well, okay. Is it impacting the client? Is it impacting just internally? Is it a heavy kind of workload on you? Or is it something that the client sees and feels? That's going to drive your planning, right? Make sure you're addressing the client's concerns.
If it's something first in the database that messes up their product, that's a great point.
Yeah. So, it's kind of similar to the last one of where do the lines start and end between sales and account management? Well, what does this mean? When you say it's a mess, I need to know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
And then once you know it, and I tell you what happens so many times, this is the telephone game, right? And this is why we say don't go to your boss with it, because if you don't know what that means exactly, I can promise you it will end up meaning more than it should somewhere along the way. Right.
Yeah.
So, it gets amplified. It hits the bullhorn and it goes from the rafters. And the next thing you know, and then you can go back and once you dig into it, come in and go, oh, you know what? It was really kind of this one thing and it wasn't a very complex fix. That's not a good look. Right.
So like the impressive thing to do with this would be to come up with a 2 to 3 page PowerPoint of problem statement. Okay, here's what's broken. Step B, here's how I'm going to prioritize it. And here's the plan. And then here's my schedule for when I'm going to get it done. Right. And even if it's like, it's going to take me 2 years to fix this, I'm going to get started now and I'm going to do, 10 of these clients per quarter. Again, I don't know the situations I'm making up these numbers. And then maybe your boss says, you got to figure out a way to go faster. All right. You get started. You at least do that plan. And then maybe you go back and say, look, I could go faster. I've had some help. Can I get an intern? Can I get somebody else from the organization? Right. Show some do not go to your boss with this, show some forward momentum in some sort of way that then you're a rock star.
Well,
And
do you know what you're doing when you engage in that fashion? You're being more than a pass through.
Wow. That was a real you tied it back. What's that called in comedy? Is this called like a callback or something like that?
It's called brilliant is what it's called, John.
Oh my gosh.
It is absolutely. Is it? But it's true. It is being more than a path. Don't take the problem and then it just crosses your plate and you hand it to your boss. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about solve the problem, figure it out, put together a task, whatever you need to do. Don't be a pass through. Own the problem, own the solution.
I think your point is right on, right? Like if it's messing up the client's product in some way, prioritize that. And then maybe it's a different story. Maybe you got to it's messing up their data or it's messing up whatever, like then you get a different thing, and you might and then the proposal might be, hey boss, we need to hire some people, we need to spend some money, we need to invest in this. Here's how much it's going to cost. Like then you're cooking. So it's hard to, from this email, know exactly how urgent the problem is, but I think you had a really good point.
Yeah. Own it. And John, when we talked about this, your reaction was exactly the first thing you said, which is, I wouldn't say it to my boss this way. Words are powerful. Words are powerful.
Yeah. Like that's where, people don't realize that bosses are humans and very flawed ones at that. And so you go drop a bomb on their desk. Like that is not, you can do that, and plenty of people do it all the time, but it's not the key to career success. If you drop a bomb in a solution, that's a very terrible metaphor, but I'll work on it and I'll get back to you.
It's been a long episode. It's been a while. We're rusty.
We're rusty.
Come on.
Yeah.
Shaking it off. Shaking it off. Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, man, that kind of wraps it up. So, what are we going to try to do here? Every 3 weeks or something?
Talk about overcommitting to goals. Yeah, I think at minimum once a quarter, we'll do something, and we'll shoot for once every 2 months.
I think we can make this somebody else's responsibility.
Oh yeah,
we'll make it our listeners' responsibility
to bug us.
Give us your questions.
Or
tell us what you need. And that'll dictate the pace and the content and everything. Like we are owned by the community.
Sounds like what you really want is, you mentioned earlier you lack motivation because you don't make any money. Maybe everybody just needs to send in checks.
I don't like when you repeated that back to me. It didn't sound so good. You don't like doing it because you're lazy and motivated by money.
You only care about money.
Filthy, rotten slug.
Other than that, I think you're a wonderful person of character.
Oh my gosh. Talk about bringing it back. You are the man. You are the man. On that note, thanks for tuning in. Fred Fuller.
John Brown. We'll see you next time.
Fred and John would like to hear from you. Go to brown-fuller.com with comments and questions, and rate us on your favorite podcast platform.